Welcome to the Taxing Subjects podcast brought to you by Drake Software. Today I'm joined by two vice presidents from Drake, Brian and James Stork. First and foremost, welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us, Ryan. It's good to be here.
Well, they're here today to talk to us about what's going to be new in Drake Software in 2018 for this upcoming tax season. So let's just go ahead and get into it. What is going to be new?
Sure. Our teams have been working really hard this off season to enhance the product. We always take our customers' feedback from the prior year and improve in as many ways as we can. We have our tax groups that are working on the tax compliance, the calculations. Federal and state teams are really focused on that. And we also have our EF team that does a lot of analysis and upgrades to our back-end processing to make that as efficient as they can make it. And another thing our application development team's been working on is looking at ways that we can help our preparers service their remote clients more effectively. There are more and more cases now that we're hearing from our clients that they have people, whether they're new taxpayers or whether they're existing clients that have moved away, people just can't get into the office. Maybe they don't want to come into the office. Maybe they just can't make it work with their work schedule, or maybe they're out of state but they still want this person to do their taxes. So there's this need to be able to provide the same high level of service to that client that you do to the person that comes and sits at your desk and that you get to interact with face to face. And we've been really looking at ways to improve that experience.
Well, how do these remote services translate into, say, features in existing products?
Right. So we've got a product today called Secure File Pro, and a lot of our clients use it. It's a secure file transfer where they can send a copy of the tax return to their clients through a portal instead of through email, which most people today consider that unsecure and want a different way to be able to send, have a password to log in, and that's what Secure File Pro allows them to do. But there are some gaps in Secure File Pro that we're trying to fill, and I'll just name those off. The first one's the mobile component, just making sure that there's a mobile-friendly experience on the taxpayer end when they're interacting with the preparer's website. The messaging component, so that they can do similar to a text messaging within the application. Being able to provide that taxpayer a prior year summary so they have an idea of what they need to collect in order to do their taxes for this year. And then a signature component, so they can do electronic signatures instead of having them have to come in or having to fax documents, and then being able to make electronic payment and not having to mail a check or come by the office, just to be able to go plug it in the application, here's my credit card, and pay for the tax prep. So those are the main gaps we're trying to fill within Secure File Pro. And Brian he's the tech guy, he's the computer guru, and he can talk. He can talk to some of the technology behind what we're doing.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of really cool things that have happened in web development over the last couple of years. A few years ago, when we were talking about doing web applications and then translating them to mobile, we had to build a website. Then we had to build an iOS app and an Android app. And enters now this idea of progressive web apps, which allows us to build a website that works like you would expect in a browser on a desktop. And if you load it on a mobile device, it actually works more like a native mobile app. So you sort of skip this step of having to go through a store like Google Play or the App Store and You can just deliver it through a website. And what it allows us to do is it allows us to extend some of the features to mobile capabilities that people are used to. So, for example, using the camera or push notifications, things like that. So it's really been a great thing for developers. We're developing one application now instead of having to keep track of a lot, but it's also much better for the end user as well, because once they get directed to a website, some of the more advanced browsers now will even ask you if you want to pin it to your home screen on your phone. So it really does function like a native app. So going back to what James said, this was really kind of a unique experiment, but just built on trying to provide that level of convenience, because everybody, I mean, try to name somebody you know that doesn't have a phone, right? It's probably really hard to do. So everyone's expecting convenience. They can access so many services over their phone. Well, we wanted to try and take this application that we've been building, add these new features, and then just present them in the most convenient way.
So in addition to, like you said, the camera, push notifications, what are some other features in Secure File Pro Connect, just to kind of give listeners an idea of precisely what this product's going to do for them?
Yeah. So the one thing I mentioned earlier, the secure messaging, being able to, in a sense, text message back and forth within the app. There's ways to communicate electronically today. You can use email, you can use text, but it gets hard to keep up with from the tax professional side if they're trying to send text messages from their phone and they have all their different contacts. And so what we're doing is putting it right within the software. We already have their list of contacts or their clients, and they'll have this interface where they can move back and forth and see that they have messages from this taxpayer, or they may have a message from this one. So it'll be much easier for them to manage, plus it'll be within or behind the login of this application. So it's just by being behind a login, it's going to be more secure. The other thing we mentioned was the summary, the prior year summary. And what we're trying to do with that, it's people are familiar with organizers. Preparers have been sending out organizers for a long time, and it's a more exhaustive look at what the person brought in last year, and it gives them sheets where they can write in information for this coming year. A lot of preparers will say that they don't get a big take rate or return rate on organizers. So what we're doing is just providing a simple prior year summary. This is who you worked for, these are the deductions you had, and just keep it simple. Don't intimidate the taxpayer, don't overwhelm them, but just give them that reminder checklist of, I need to get this stuff together before I'm ready to file my taxes. And that's something that the vast majority of us as taxpayers could find useful. At least I think so anyway.
Yeah, you only file your return once per year. So, I know I appreciate when I get an organizer document, just because I don't remember from year to year every single piece of information I filed. So really, by presenting this up front for them, it hopefully will eliminate a lot of the back and forth that may have to occur without it, just to remind them, you need this document. Hopefully presenting it like this fashion, they can, go through, sort of treat it like a checklist, upload all the documents, and then be done. So,
yeah. Do you want to talk about the signature feature?
Sure. So on the signature piece, in order to e-file your return, or in order for a taxpayer to e-file, you have to authorize your tax preparer to e-file for you. And in order to do that, you have to sign what they call Form 8879. It's the authorization form. And so we've had ways to electronically sign that in the software when the person's sitting across the desk from you. But really, in order to facilitate a remote signature right now, and I do this, and I would actually appreciate this feature, is my preparer will send me the form usually through a secure portal, and I have to get it, print it out, and then sign it, take it home, have my wife sign it, scan it, upload it, and then it goes back to my preparer. And what this does is it allows for us to capture the signature on any device. So my preparer could just shoot me an email that says, okay, probably have a link in it that says, okay, this is a link to your 8879, can you sign it? I can just load it up on my phone, tablet, even on a PC, and review the document and sign it with my finger if I'm using a phone, and then it also, if you have a spouse, it will send them a notification. They can do the same thing. So as soon as you're done signing it, the preparer gets a notification that it's signed and the process is done. So it's very convenient, and it's a paperless process, which should be very welcomed.
So what, speak to the requirements there, because the taxpayer may have to answer some questions, right, to prove who they are.
Okay, yeah, in order to meet the IRS requirements for obtaining a remote signature, there are a few additional steps that we will incorporate into this. And the primary extra step you have to take is you have to send the taxpayer through what they call KBV, which is knowledge-based verification. So it's a series of questions. I'm sure you've probably seen this before.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're asking about, your previous address or previous car you owned. And you have to go through those steps, and it's all to ensure that the person that you sent the document to, who is signing it, is who you think it is. And then all that's recorded and tracked, and so, on the chance there's an audit of any kind, you would be able to prove that you followed the standards. So
that sounds pretty convenient for me. I know as someone who similarly has to, I don't get the e-signature part of it with my personal tax pro, but I do have to get the packet, bring it home, I sign, my wife signs, and usually looking for on those the little highlight tabs. So it sounds like if you can start the process in the app, you get a notification that just says, here's your checklist you need to get to me. You don't have to have any other communication with the tax pro until you have those documents and you send them in. The return gets prepared, and then the tax professional can prompt the taxpayer to sign. And that's all, I suppose it wouldn't be all in one day, but it's from my couch. I can sit there and just say, oh, okay, that's ready. I'll sign my name. Again, whether it's a finger or with a stylus or whatever, that seems really convenient.
Yeah. And you can even if you're at your desktop, I don't know that I've ever done it on my phone, but I usually am at a computer, and you can even, you can choose using your keyboard and mouse what you want, where you want to apply the signature, what you want the signature to look like. So it's really any device wherever you are. And as you were talking through that, I think we missed really mentioning a point of once you get your documents collected, when you're the taxpayer, you get your W-2, maybe a 1099 from the bank. You get your charitable donations, all your receipts if you're a business. Any of that information now, instead of having to get it in electronic format through a scanner or anything like that, which you can still do through Secure File Pro, you'll be able to open this app and take pictures of those documents and upload them to the preparer. So there is that feature within Secure File Pro Connect that'll make it really convenient. I like to use my phone to take photos to get stuff uploaded. It's a lot quicker, so that'll be a nice convenience.
Convenience is the theme.
So what about payment options then? What do we see happening in Secure File Pro Connect as far as, so I've sent my information, I've signed, I'm ready to pay.
Right. What we're doing for this first year is we intend to work with a third party called ePay. ePay. It's made by or developed by EPS Financial, and it's a merchant services account. A lot of our customers use it today within the tax software because it's already integrated. And so this is just a further integration into Secure File Pro Connect. And once you're ready to collect payment, and you know, if you're my preparer and you're ready to collect payment and you know how much my bill is going to be, you can push that, and then you'll have the ePay feature enabled. So I'll just be able to click on it, fill out my billing address, credit card information, see the amount due, and press pay and be done. So that's a key thing. I think eventually, once we get past the first year, we're going to be looking at other technologies to support maybe PayPal or other payment services. But we are excited to get that built in today, and or get that built in now for this coming year, so that preparers have a much easier way to collect payment if they choose to.
That's one of the features that I don't have today. Like, for the past couple years, I've prepared my return. I've never met my tax preparer. Everything's done email, secure file transfer. But when it comes to signatures and payment, there's a paper process, or I have to call and hope I get somebody and then pay over the phone or send them a check. And this really, a lot of these services, it's, once the preparer says, okay, you owe this amount, you get a notification. When you have time, you do it. Now, most preparers are probably going to say, I'll e-file your return once you pay me, which would probably be smart. But, I think if you asked anyone if they were comparing two services to use and one was more convenient, they would choose convenience. So again, that's been our focus, is trying to make this convenient for the taxpayer.
Well, it sounds like Drake customers in particular have quite a bit to look at with Secure File Pro Connect this year. But what are the requirements for using Secure File Pro Connect?
All right, so it's going to be $5,000 right off the bat. No, I'm just kidding. No,
sign me up.
You have to be a Secure File Pro user to be able to access these features. And like I said, a lot of our customers are already using Secure File Pro. But if they're not, they'll just need to sign up for that, and they can go to securefilepro.com. We have some very reasonable tiered pricing on that site that they can check out. But that's how they'll access it. And we're not, I wouldn't call this a beta release, but we're really looking to push out these features and get some feedback from them so that we can refine the tool set based on what our customers say and what they like. And so that's the plan for this year, not to charge anything extra other than asking them to sign up for Secure File Pro. Now down the road, as we continue to look at the ways that we're enhancing the product and the ways people are using it differently and the storage capacity needs that people have, we'll probably be looking at some pricing modifications to the tiers next year. But this year, the only requirement to be able to use this is to sign up for Secure File Pro.
All right. Well, before we sign off, do you two have any advice for tax professionals who are interested in like a remote services platform like Secure File Pro Connect? What would you tell them that they need to know before jumping in?
Yeah, we talk about it a lot, and there's there's this need in the prepare market to adapt to this type of service. You want to provide that high level of service to your client wherever they are. And there really is a lot, when you think about it, a lot of time savings and probably ways to save money if you can find ways to efficiently serve clients and them not have to come into your office. I know some clients, they want to see you every year. That gives them that warm fuzzy and that security, and you're always going to have that. But especially when you look at the newer generation of tax filers, the millennials, they thrive on convenience, and they do so much from their phone. They order takeout from their phone, they order groceries, they purchase items, they bank, a lot of financial transactions and services. It can all be done from a phone. So we're trying to get this out there, this feature set. We're encouraging our preparers to embrace it, to look for how they can adapt their office and their procedures to be able to provide this service as a convenience to their clients, and be able to have that communication and the dialogue and the exchange without without visits or any of that extra that takes up time, and time is money. So that's really where we're at, and we're going to be working to educate our clients and provide training on these tools, and I'm sure we'll get a lot of feedback this coming season, and we'll be looking for ways to take that feedback and really fine-tune and enhance the product for the future years.
Yeah, we talked with several customers too as we were building it this year, and they seemed really excited. We were kind of amazed at how many of the tax returns that they prepared were done without ever seeing the customer. And they're doing it all through email and phone calls and mailings. And so we just hope that people will give it a chance. We do think it'll help with retention, and several of them mentioned, I have customers all over the country. A lot of them live there, near the preparer, and that's how the relationship got started. But then they moved away. Well, once you find a good preparer that you trust, you're going to try to use them no matter what. But if distance, provides a barrier, you have to come in and do something, then they may start thinking about finding someone else. If you can provide this type of service where, it doesn't matter where they are, then, we do think that it will help with retention a lot.
I know it helped me. I've had my tax guy since I was 18 years old, so I definitely know I'm very comfortable with that preparer, and I'm definitely that exact situation.
Would you snap a photo of your W-2 and send it to them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We just had a kid, so any extra time I can get at the house is definitely
a new deduction. Congratulations.
That's right. That was on my checklist of things in my life. I said, deduction for kids.
Child tax credit, check.
But it's great to hear about these new offerings from Drake, about Secure File Pro Connect, and being able to facilitate this remote service for tax professionals and taxpayers. Again, I want to thank you two for joining us, and that'll be it for the Tax and Subjects podcast. We'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks.